Welcome.
Hello.
Welcome to Phi Tribe Live. I hope you guys are able to hear us okay. If there's any problems on our end, just let us know and just say something in the chat so that we know everything is going okay. And if you're just tuning in, this is the Phi Tribe Live session.
Phi Tribe Live.
Phi Tribe Live. This is
episode 2.
Our second one, episode number 2. Now, we lost last week because just before we went ready to go live, I got struck with a kidney stone, and Mike was good enough to drive me to the hospital.
How do you get struck with a kidney stone? Somebody throw it at you?
Yeah. Well, threw it at me maybe years ago, and it kind of calcified and built up over the years.
Okay.
But yeah.
I've heard of passing, but never being struck by a kidney stone.
Well, it kind of came on like a lightning. I was fine 1 second, and then the next second, I was like dying. But anyway, I lived, and everything was fine, and it was really no big deal, but just a lot of pain for a few days. And I'm glad to be back. And so I apologize for missing last week.
What did you learn through the suffering?
I learned a new appreciation for life. I really did. For a minute there, I thought I might be a goner. I was like, "Oh man."
Yeah, I was a little worried.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was concerned there for a minute.
It was strange.
Pretty rough. Yeah.
I got the goner email that says, "I'm not doing good," and here were all the usernames and passwords to everything. And I thought, "Oh my God, she's committing suicide." So.
Jeez, that's dark.
No suicide here.
Good.
I love life. It's awesome. It's awesome.
No doubt.
So if you're just tuning in and this is your first time on Phi Tribe, this is something we do every week, every Thursday night at 9 o'clock. And this is where we talk about all the fascinating technology that Phi Tribe is all about. We talk about the Phi Balanced technology and how it helps you and really, more importantly, the philosophy behind it, because when you could start to wrap your mind around the philosophy of what we're talking about, you can apply it to your life, and then it will radically transform your life. That's all I can really say. I mean, it's the most transformative thing that anybody could possibly do. So that's really what our channel is about. That's what the show is about. And my name is Ford, and we're Phi Tribe. And
I'm Mix Mike, and that's Jeff.
Way to extend that out, guys.
Yeah. So, why don't we just, let's take a second to maybe just talk about ourselves a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm Mix Mike. I am a recording engineer and producer here around the Atlanta area. I got involved, well, I should back up a little bit. So, Phi Tribe is something that has been building up for a long time. But getting into the science and the philosophy of it, for me, it was something that I've always been interested in. The 432 and other tunings, like our solfeggio stuff, has been something close to me for a minute, and it's cool to get to make that, into something to help people now through Phi Tribe and through the Phi Balanced technology. So I guess that's it about me.
No,
that's all I got to say.
Right on, Jeff. Do you want to say anything?
All right. Well, we'll go from Mix Mike to Mixed Up Jeff. That's my name, and I'm here because I'm confused and getting things straightened out. But no, I've been a friend of Ford's here for 5-6 years, and she invited me over to do some singing on some studio work. And we became great friends, and she started explaining to me different philosophies and different technologies that have been around for a long time, but nobody was using, and that she had an idea to put together a label at the time, a platform, I guess is what we're going to call it now on YouTube, that really using these ancient ideas and philosophies and putting some modern spins on them, she really thought she could change the world, and I really got in alignment with that. And shortly after met Mike, and we just all teamed up, and here we are.
Made it happen. And my name is Ford again, and this kind of happened. This has been a long time coming. The Phi Tribe is. This is actually like the third or fourth attempt at this. The first few attempts didn't go so well. And really, how this all happened, I've been a music producer for about 30 years, a little more than that, and I'm successful most primarily in the EDM world and doing EDM style music. And then had this crazy spiritual experience in the early 2000s that really, really rocked my world in a huge way. And I was already kind of a nerd into quantum mechanics and all that kind of stuff. So when this experience happened to me, it rocked me in a way I can't even describe. And I knew from that moment that everything in my life had to change. I knew that I had to dedicate my life to integrating what I'm able to do with music and doing something good with it. And so that was a life-changing thing. And I didn't really know what that looked like for the longest time. We thought for a while we're going to do a record label that was about positivity and good things. You know, my stance on it was that if you're singing lyrics to a pop song, that those lyrics are the mantra. You know, that's a mantra you're singing. And if you're not paying attention to the lyrics that you're singing along to, you're speaking into existence a lot of really terrible stuff for yourself. So that's kind of like where this began. And we tried several attempts at making that work. And nobody in the music industry was interested at all. They just thought that it was a corny idea. They didn't really get what we were going with this. And then Mike and I were been friends for a gazillion years, and we're both total psychonauts and both really down the esoteric rabbit hole, if you will. And he turned me on to some alternate tunings to experiment with. And this amazing thing happened. I ended up getting my... I wasn't 100% sold on it. I thought it was kind of cool. None of us we didn't really know what we were doing then. We were like, it's 432, and we were just kind of playing with it. But when I got my piano tuned to 432, which I had to go through 2 different tuners before I can even find a tuner who was willing to do it. Everybody told me I was going to ruin my piano by retuning it to 432. But it didn't matter. I was curious. So retuned it, and the very first time I hit an A minor chord, it was the very first chord I hit, every hair on my arm stood up. And I was like, wow, there's definitely something amazing here. And I still didn't know what. And that was more than 10 years ago. So it's just been refinement since then, and learning. And just rabbit hole after rabbit hole of not only the mathematical knowledge and wisdom that it takes to create this music, but also the philosophical mechanism behind it. Once you understand the philosophy, you can kind of predict how the mechanics work. And that's what we find so fascinating. You know.
Very.
And maybe both of you could interject here, but I think it's really interesting too. I'm probably the least. I'm definitely the least technologically gifted, experienced, whatever. I'm just not the tech guy in this, or the science guy. But when you first explained it to me, I thought it was just, you just tune your instruments a little bit lower than 440, which is the standard. Tuning, and you guys explained to me that there's a lot more to it. So maybe you guys could give a little feedback to just take it down to a deeper level, other than just tuning the strings or tuning the instruments.
I think. Well, first and foremost, there's like a few very basic things to understand before you can really understand the Phi Balanced technology. And that's the first thing is sympathetic resonance. And not to get too deep into it, just a basic explanation. We've even said this before. Everybody's seen the opera singer sing and break the glass. That happens through the process of sympathetic resonance. When you vibrate an object at its fundamental frequency, it absorbs that energy really, really well, better than any other frequency. And because it absorbs that energy, it starts to vibrate itself. And over enough of that, if it absorbs enough of that energy, it'll cause the glass to break. Well, there's a lot of other ways that's being used. Like, we're always being exposed to chaotic and harsh non-musical noises, and that has the same effect. Because water vibrates at a lot of frequencies, it can be affected by that. And as you get kind of exposed to these negative vibrations, we'll call them, over time, it starts to wear down your biology. And what we're doing is the exact opposite of that. We're organizing vibrations and then exposing you to those. And so the idea is that as your body gets exposed to these other vibrations, it will start to react and be like those vibrations and harmonious and more in tune.
Yeah, yeah. And going back to sympathetic resonance, a direct experience of that. If you're not an opera singer shattering glasses,
Right.
if everyone's had the experience of pulling up to a traffic light in your car and someone pulls up next to you and they got a loud system going, and then maybe all of a sudden the mirrors in your car start vibrating, or you can feel the walls in your car shake or something. Or if you're at a concert, you can really feel the bass in your chest. That's sympathetic resonance. That's what's happening. It's vibrating those objects to the matching frequency of what's being broadcasted, and as it absorbs that, it expands it and it amplifies it and makes it more. So, understanding that principle, you can understand that that since you're already amplifying these frequencies that are hitting you, you really want to make sure that the frequencies you're amplifying are natural and pure and in the best configuration for optimum performance. And I mean that both physically and cognitively, psychologically. It applies, it's fractal, so it applies it like an echo, and it just goes, and it echoes in every direction that you can think about, and into every different type of way to think about reality.
Yeah.
So in a practical application, and I think one of the things that we all came together and decided, what are we going to call what we do, and what is it going to be aimed at doing, and we called it sound acoustic healing technology. We one of several different names, but that's great that we've come up with all this technology. Now, what do we do with it? And I want you guys to elaborate on what it does and how it does and why.
Yeah, so we've all heard of out-of-tune instruments and how not very pleasing or musical they sound. Obviously, they sound very dissonant and chaotic. And so that is kind of the typical state for most people, is their biology is chaotic and a little bit out of tune, not perfectly harmonious. So the idea is to tune the body. And so the practical application is this: the more that you expose yourself to the Phi Balanced stuff, the more it is going to affect your body, and even beyond that, like Ford has talked about, that it can even transform aspects of your life too, because all of these things are frequencies, emotions are frequencies, and they can also be tuned. Just like your chakras, or mind centers as we call them, they can be tuned as well. And when you, through sympathetic resonance, by giving people, exposing them to the right frequencies in harmony, it puts your body in harmony as well.
Yeah, and there's no limit to how this can affect you. So, to have a visual perspective of what we're talking about, and I'm not talking about air or wind here, but like when the wind gusts, it's not one tree that moves; it's all the trees. They move in uniform. When the birds fly, one bird goes, and then all of the birds move in unison. Right? They're all tuned into the same frequency, the same pattern, the same pathway, and this pathway is ever present in every single thing that you can think about. And that pathway is Phi. And the reason it's Phi is because everything is like a drain in the universe. And what I mean by that is that reality itself is a state of two impossibilities coming together as one. And when those two things come together as one, we call that life. We call that reality. And it's when space itself is encountering counter space. And counter space, another word for counter space, you could say is infinity. But everything has to have an opposite. There's no thing in the world, in the universe, that exists without an attribute opposite. So what is the opposite of infinity? It is the negative image of infinity. It is not empty space. So when people say empty space or I was in emptiness, you're not in emptiness. You're in infinite negative possibility. And I don't mean negative in a negative sense, but just
like
in a reverse sense
yeah.
of what possibility is. And when those two things come together, when they touch, they create this spinning phi pattern, this whirlpool, like almost like you pulled a drain out of the, a cork out of the drain, and then it starts that whirlpool, and it does it every single time. It always follows the same mathematical spin. So if you can realize that everything in the universe is doing this, every subatomic particle of your body is doing this, your body is doing this, society is doing this, the earth is doing this, the solar system is doing this, the sun is doing this, and the galaxy is doing this. It just goes on and on
Atoms.
and on.
Yeah.
Right. And this is what we mean by fractality. Fractality, if you think about like Russian dolls, it's like a doll within a doll within a doll within a doll within a doll. It's the same thing. Micro changes with shifting your balance to phi, just through listening to music, can have profound fractal implications.
Mm-hmm.
On the grand scale. And then this is what really the true meaning of astrology is all about. It's aligning yourself with these natural patterns, and when you're in alignment with them, literally the stars can kind of show you what's going to happen because you're harnessing the momentum of the entire galaxy and more. Yeah. And that sounds woo, but there's some serious mathematical science behind this. Woo.
So, Mike, can you take what she just said and put it down into about a graduate level?
Yeah.
Is that too much?
I think
I'll try 6th grade level.
Yeah. I think an easier way of understanding it is that what appears to be a lot of times what appears to be chaos in our environment is just patterns that we don't recognize yet, and patterns always follow some kind of order, and that implicate order a lot of times is based on the phi ratio, the way that the decimal place goes on forever. There's actually a pattern to that number, and that pattern means it's self-organized. That self-organization is something that the universe is using all the time to create and add more detail and life and interesting things into the universe, So to distill that down is basically like you want to get on this path that the universe is using. You want to get in that flow of the momentum of how things are unfolding by themselves, and by balancing yourself to phi, you're doing that. And what we mean by balancing yourself to phi is aligning yourself with this principle. And we'll probably go into that principle a little bit here. I don't want to get too far into that and get derailed, but it has to do a lot with vibration. Everything is vibrating all the time. What we call heat is vibrating, the amount of vibration that's in an atom, So that by vibrating yourself or being vibrated by this pattern, it helps align you. It's like through the sympathetic resonance. Your body wants to move towards whatever it's being vibrated by. So if it's being vibrated by chaos, it's going to start to move towards chaos. And if it's being vibrated by order, it's going to start to move towards order. And then that goes even further beyond just your biological stuff, but your thought patterns, your behavior patterns, and stuff like that. So like what we mean by you can really transform your life is this can become even a meditative practice. So it's more than just sleeping good at night. It's more than just helping calm anxiety. By exposing yourself to this, you're going to get these things less. You'll have the symptoms of these things much, much less because you're physiology is adjusting and moving towards a much more balanced and equalized place.
Well, I think that's a great explanation. And if I could even just
Yeah.
dumb it down a little bit more, you press play and the vibe makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of those things are,
Yeah.
very, yeah.
And the whole any of the records or recordings on our channel are designed with all of that in mind. So whether it's a pop song or a rap song, a rock song, or sleep, healing technology, it's an interface that allows humans to just at a cellular level feel better using principles that are from God, from the universe, from the creation, and it's just mathematically aligning those with, so it's pretty cool stuff. I guess that's why we've grown so quickly, because it works and it resonates with people, and I think one of the most, beautiful things that we always talk about is when we read comments from people of how, say for instance, a third eye chakra sleeping video has helped them to get off their sleeping medication, or they've not been able to sleep,
For
more
months.
than
Yeah.
2 or 3 minutes for months, and some people, you can tell they're crying as they type into the keyboard. So how does that feel as creators when you're taking something that is out of the head, and now your heart is really being touched because and I don't even think we knew this would happen.
No, we really didn't.
So
We
it,
really
it
didn't.
came out of the head, and now it's coming back into the heart, hearing the feedback. Tell us a little bit about how that makes each of you feel for your programs.
Definitely answering the comments. By the way, leave comments, and if you're not in the comments on these songs, even the sleep songs, you think people are just going to sleep. I mean, there are literally 100,000 comments, and there's whole communities within communities inside the comment sections of just people hanging out and chatting about this subject.
It's
we're all
it's fractal.
It's fractal. We're all interested in this subject, and it's full of love and positivity, and everybody's supporting each other. So that part is really, really great. I was just saying to Mike the other day, I'm often, I try to do as many comments as I can. I literally answer like 300 comments a day, and I can't obviously get to all of them, but every now and then I'll find these little branches where somebody replied off of someone else's reply, and I find this whole tree that's got 500 responses, and these people having conversations with each other, and it's such an amazing thing. For so long in the industry, I would get people asking me for my autograph, or saying interesting things like that, or want to meet me or take a picture with me or whatever. But compared to getting a note that says, I haven't slept for 3 months and now I can sleep thanks to you, and they're just so thankful. It's the most unbelievably warm, amazing, worthy thing I feel like I've ever done in my entire life. Far more than anything I did in the music industry.
It's very powerful.
Yeah. And then beyond that too, like when people are like, I literally had this a woman a couple of days ago just telling me that beyond being able to sleep, they were having some trouble with their baby daughter going to bed, and just I can imagine new parents up all night with the colicky baby, and she basically just opened her heart to me in the comment section, saying they were literally on the verge of divorce. Like her and her husband they just couldn't take it anymore. They were just at each other's throats, and then because of this music, the baby started sleeping. They both started sleeping, and she says her relationship with her husband's never been better. Like, that sounds like crazy stuff, but those are the kind of comments I get all the time, and it's because this is not music. There's something very, very special going on besides music. The music is just kind of covering up the technology.
It's acoustic sound healing.
Yeah, no, I think we've said this before, or at least between some conversations between us, is we've said that the music is like the way that you connect to the technology. I put that in air quotes just because I don't like to call it technology. It sounds like it's but it's a principle, and so that the music is a way to interface with that, because we all connect with music, and that's a universal language. So by utilizing that, I think we're able to connect with people really well. I mean, that's what it looks like to me anyway.
Yeah.
And I think it's really awesome to see that happen. Like when I first got into a lot of the alternate tunings and all that kind of stuff, I had ideas of what I thought was possible, but there wasn't at the time, there wasn't a lot of people weren't into this like this, yet. It wasn't this big thing. It was just somebody, we had heard about it kind of thing. But as, I started getting into it, and as we started applying it, to see it working is like the most gratifying and awesome thing, because it's like you want to believe that it's going to work, but a lot of it sounds very simple, and I think that's what's so powerful. It's a very simple principle and a very simple idea, but a lot of times the best ones are really simple, and it's not this really extravagantly wild, crazy thing where you need a PhD degree to get it to work. It's just exposing yourself to it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I think that's why the name is so apropos, because we started off with Phi. We knew we had the word Phi, and we had to put something together with it. And then we thought, hey, why not a tribe? Because we really want to connect with you, and we want you to connect with us, and we want you to connect with each other. And you talk about, connectivity, and that's in my own experience and knowing, I believe that's the purpose of the universe. The universe is connecting with itself. It's trying to discover itself. It's trying to learn about itself. It's on an adventure and connecting, and that's what we as humans, we need connectivity. We join tribes. We join tribes because we want to feel safe. We want to feel familiar. We want to feel understood. We want to feel, all of those things. Then philosophically, as you grow or on the path of a spiritual warrior or what have you, you often need to leave tribes to go find your own footing, your own centering. And I think that was something tonight we wanted to talk a little bit about, was centering in life and what that means and what that is, and how can Phi Tribe, how can people in Phi Tribe find or get centering, and how can they use the technology to get centered. So you want to speak to that a little bit, Ford?
Well, I guess first the question is, well, what is your center? And to be technically correct about it, the center is everywhere and nowhere, which sounds like some sort of a Zen cone, but it really makes sense once you understand the philosophy of it, because it literally is everywhere and nowhere. Every single point in the universe is the center of the universe. So if the universe is expanding in all directions of consciousness infinitely, then anywhere you are to measure that is by definition the center of the universe. So really what your center is your center of focus. And what's happening is we live in a very wild, chaotic world, and the more chaotic it gets, our attention is being pulled here, and it's being pulled here, and it's this show and this friend's problems and blah 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 blah, and we get so caught up in all these different things we're focused on that we literally lose sight of our own center focus. And once you lose sight of the center, that's when life gets crazy. That's when life just feels like a burden, because it feels like you're swimming upstream. And because it's literally like that. That's what you're doing, swimming upstream. And so those are some key benefits to finding your center.
I think something to. I should say, you guys, if you have any questions specifically, put them in the chat. Hop in the chat and put them in there. We are answering them in real time. Yeah. So if you got any questions or anything, we can hop on in there. I can actually read some of these. I've been responding to them, but we can hit some of these questions real fast.
One more thing while you're doing that, I'm going to say, going back to the center again. So a lot of people, maybe you're aware of this state of mind that is called flow state. Some people call it the zone. Some people just feel like they're in the state of everything's of a state of grace is another way people say it. And we've all had an experience of this. It's just having a good day. You know, you wake up one day and then suddenly everything is just coming your way. It's just effortless and things are just floating right along. And it's like, wow. There's Zen Buddhists would say that being in flow state is kind of like living 4 feet above the ground. It's because your life is exactly the same, except everything is just happening automatically for you. And that's flow state. And that's what you're trying to get to when you find that current. That's what's happening. You just kind of find where the current is, and then you let go. And the more you can let go and let God, not to use a religious metaphor, but that's literally what it is. You're letting go and just let control, let the universe kind of guide you. And if you can have that trust, wow, can the world really open up some miracles for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and to tie what you're saying back into something that Mike spoke about earlier, I think once you start recognizing flow, you see that it's a pattern. And Mike was talking about patterns earlier.
Mm-hmm.
The universe is full of patterns. And so I think once you find flow in one thing in your life and you feel it, you experience it, you acknowledge it, you're then able to notice when other flow situations are happening. Say, for instance, you found flow, sitting on your front porch watching the sun come up, and you're like, wow, this is nice, this is flow. But then you're having a conversation later with a good friend that just came up out of the blue, and it's just going smooth. And then you take that 1 second to be present, and you're like, wow, this is really good. You're recognizing a pattern of flow. And I think those patterns are already there. They already exist. We just are so blocked with our ego and with drama and with all the things you were talking about, so we aren't centered. But when we center, we're able to recognize all the flow that's happening and then really experience it to the fullest without doing anything. So flow is not doing, flow is experiencing. Except I do think you need to recognize the pattern.
You have to recognize the pattern. Because it's like riding a bike. Unless you can recognize the feeling of getting off balance, you can't correct yourself. So you have to first, what happens when you're learning to ride a bike? A parent holds the back of the seat and is holding your balance for you. And that's what this music is doing. It's basically holding the balance for you until you can get the hang of it to find that balance yourself.
Great point.
Yeah, so a bunch of questions here in the chat.
Great.
First one is from We Are Lions. They say, what are your thoughts on those 432 hertz apps that supposedly play any music at 432 or at 528? Do they actually work to fix the music to those frequencies?
No.
In a short answer, no. They are, I guess, somewhat similar in the fact that they are tuning the music, but there's so much more to that than just tuning things slightly down. Like, that's not enough to really make it fully effectful. So what we're doing is far more than that, and there's many layers to that. And then that's what we're calling our Phi Balanced.
Yeah, 432 is less of a frequency. It's less about what the frequency is and more about it is a recognition of a pattern. And the pattern transcends language. I can't articulate it. It's something that has to be felt to understand. But 432 is a representation of that. It's a representation of that pattern that repeats in a fractal echo that just keeps going and going and going and going.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Well, then to take it a little bit deeper, getting in the technology of what we do with our music here, again, it's not just about tuning down the instruments. There are several different proprietary things that are done during the mixing and the mastering that have nothing to do with tuning the instrument to 432. A lot of it has to do, you've mentioned before with Tesla, some of the patterns that he recognized, and maybe talk a little bit about that real quick to give just a little taste of, again, another scientific mind that if we would have gone, or if we would have chosen the things that he was working on, the world would be a completely different place, and maybe a lot less drama.
Yeah, I would say that many would argue that we were steward a different direction on purpose because of what the possibilities of what this technology could lead to, and what this, I say technology, I should say what this philosophy could lead to, because it's like, again, it's more about the philosophy. And it doesn't matter what your job is. Once you get this philosophy, like we just learned this and we're applying it to the thing that we do best, which is music. You can learn this and apply it to the thing that you do best, whether it's accounting or doing web design or artwork or whatever it is you're doing. It's once you recognize this pattern, you just keep implementing it over and over and over again.
We got more questions. Let's see. From King Seaman the Beast says, I have a question about this. Why does it make me relax and then I'm relaxed, but every other hurts? And this is only one that it works. Okay, I don't fully understand that, but I think what they're trying to say is, why are some of these hurts working and other ones are not?
Across our channel or across different channels? Or?
Yeah, not sure. King Man the Beast, can you clarify that in the thing?
If it's about our stuff, and maybe one program is working better for you than another program, it's because the areas that are you're feeling the effectiveness, those are the areas that you're the most out of balance. That's why it's very, very noticeable to you. So, but as you refine that balance, they're all going to start to feel like that. And the more that you do them, you're going to start to notice the differences in the songs. Each frequency is touching a different arm of anxiety. A lot of people don't realize that we store all of our anxieties in the body as tension, and this is literally relaxing that. And as it's relaxing that, your body releases that anxiety. And sometimes it releases it in the form of a dream. Sometimes it releases it in the form of a cramp, leg cramp. It could be releasing it in all kinds of ways. But it's usually only going to be intense the very first time you listen to it, and then it should be much easier the second time. But once you get the sense of what they're all doing, skip around, try the different frequencies on different nights. And after you do it for a while, you're going to realize, oh man, after a long day at work, the root chakra is really helping me the best. Or after the weekend, I have to get ready for work again, another chakra is working better for me. Or vice versa, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
You get it.
King the Beast says, from different ones, not y'all's. Y'all's work crazy good, because days are faster for me. And that's a very interesting comment, because we joke all the time that days feel super fast for us. So other ones don't work as well because they're not nearly as fractal as ours.
Yeah.
That's the short answer. And that's not a dig at any of these other ones. It's just how we're doing things, is we're making everything more fractal is the easiest way to say it.
What does that mean?
Here. Fractality has to do with self-similarity on every scale. So if you look at this picture behind forward here, it's got all these designs and geometric stuff going on. They use a particular kind of mathematics to create that, and that's what they call fractal mathematics, which generates patterns. And that's what's really important to know about what we're talking about is and why we call it a principle, because the idea is to make things cohesive on every possible plane that we can. And that's why we're kind of just scratching the surface, because we're figuring out new ways to make things even more fractal, so to speak, and even more layers of self-similar harmony going on. And so that's why I think ours are set apart from a lot of the other stuff. It's a different technique than what other people are doing.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people just know 432, and that's all they know. And if that's all you know, I mean, it's
doing something.
It's doing something, but it's not really doing all of it. It's having one doll of the Russian dolls, and what you need to do is have all the dolls be able to fit inside of each other. And while he was talking, we put up a picture of a leaf to demonstrate fractality. And if you look at that, it's already up there, I think. If you look at the veins of that leaf, and if you haven't noticed before, if you look up the center of that vein, you can kind of see that the leaf is a small picture of what the entire tree looks like. Can you guys see that? Each branch goes off of the main trunk, and then each one of those branches branches off again, right? That's fractality. It's a self-organizing, self-repeating pattern in life. And yes, it's easy to see in a leaf, but this is happening everywhere. It's in everything that you can think about.
Right.
Including thoughts.
Including thoughts.
Those
and
are thought
emotions.
patterns.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and that's a great segue into one of my favorite discussions is that's why I think this whole experience is a simulation, and these patterns are what in the simulation?
Well, I think it's it should be noted that like because of the incredible harmony that the universe seems to have. I mean, we think of the universe as this constantly degrading or pulling apart or entropic, full of entropy, just losing energy all the time. And while many respects that's true, there's also a lot of negentropic processes, things that are going against entropy, right? And that's organization. And a tree growing is a totally against all entropy. I mean, there's entropic processes happening in the growth of a tree, but in and of itself, it was a seed, and now it's coalescing in an order, and that order follows a lot of these Phi principles, we'll call it.
And that's what I think it's really interesting. What Terence McKenna has a theory he called the novelty theory, which begins that the universe when it was, or let's say for instance, the universe when it was first exploding onto the scene. For the first few billion years, very little was happening. Hydrogen was just trying to get organized. Right. And so the time back then was at a very slow, kind of pace. And then as the universe started organizing and creating its own technology and then, becoming stars, planets, black holes, all that stuff, it's novelty. It's creating a newer and better and greater technology. Time picks up the pace. And then when humans finally, billions of years later, come onto the scene, the novelty first started very slow as we started, kind of getting ourselves together. But then as we became conscious and started creating our own, particularly language. Language was an incredible technology to actually put thought into a spoken word. That never happened in the universe, so to speak. Time sped up more till you come up to today with, eventually, our technology we make with computers and how we make all of our music. And I've always kind of thought time seems to be going so rapidly now, and it would kind of go with his philosophy of the novelty of, as more and more technologies, as the universe gets more and more technologies in place and learning more, it just keeps going faster and faster and faster. And I think his theory was, like a bucket, eventually it will fill up, and then when it does, everything that pours out, that now you're moving up to a new dimension, a new world, a new that something cataclysmic kind of happens. And I've always thought that was I thought that was a very interesting way to look at things, and I feel it myself. It seems to be going so fast in the world.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think that's because we're approaching singularity, and the singularity is more than just technological singularity. Technological singularity is the moment that, let's say, we keep building on all these AI platforms, things like chatbot GPT and other forms of language modeling computer systems. I think there's a lot of the smartest people in the world would say that by 2030 we're going to be living in this very near AGI world, and that's artificial general intelligence. And when that happens, you think that things are going fast now, or if you think things are chaotic now, man, wait till that happens. It's going to be so chaotic and so crazy and so fast that literally none of us will be able to keep up. It won't be possible. And many people are not going to be able to function. They're not going to be able to handle this because they're not in balance and they're not in flow. And if you can just be in flow, you're going to be fine. You're going to skate right through it.
Yeah. More questions in the chat. Valerie N says, the music is at a frequency where you sleep for 8 hours. So what happens in the middle of the night? I think that what is meant by that is like the frequencies aren't necessarily to make you sleep. We can kind of do that with a lot of different frequencies. There's not just one frequency for sleep. It's more about the level of sleep that we're trying to induce, and for 8 hours, we make them 8 hours just because it'll help you sleep for 8 hours. Everybody wants a good night's sleep.
Nobody wants a commercial interruption in the middle of the night.
Yeah,
so if it's just playing all the way for 8 hours, you can get a good 8 hours sleep. What's happening is you're just in training to this balance, and you're going to get a lot of the way there on the first listen, but it's just like going to a gym. You can't just go to the gym once, and be like, oh, I didn't work for me. You got to just keep doing it. You're exercising the muscle of the mind. The imagination is a muscle, and you have to exercise it, and you have to work at it. And this part of this philosophy is doing the inner work too. It goes hand in hand. But I say inner work, and people go, oh, work, school, I don't want to learn. But you're going to be so fascinated. The more that you open this up, you're going to be like, holy cow, how come I didn't know this years ago, And it's going to inspire you to want to learn more. I mean, you'll be obsessed with it, just like we are, up all night, going down rabbit holes of just new stuff. Yeah.
A follow-up to that, Valerie also says, what happens when I put it on at 4 a.m.? The same exact thing that happens when you put it on at any time. It is not necessarily like you don't have to start right at the beginning, right when you go to bed, for it to work. Because of the fractal nature of the music in general. I mean, you could start it right in the middle of the song if you wanted to, if it's 4 hours in.
Sure.
But yeah, we make them 8 hours just so that, there's no commercial interruptions. But, if you go to sleep and you sleep all night.
Yeah. These aren't necessarily for sleeping. I mean, they're designed to help you sleep, and they will definitely put you to sleep. That's for sure. But really what they're designed to do is relax you. And once you're relaxed, then the body can let go and sleep if you're tired. But if you need to focus, you can also listen to this while you're studying, because that relaxation is going to allow the mind to work in different ways, and you're going to be able to analyze things in different ways and retain things in different ways. So it's about the relaxation. That's what it's really about.
Yep.
Just don't drive heavy equipment.
Right.
Yeah, don't drive. And, people joke. There's so many jokes about that in the comments, and I want to address that too. We put that there, and it sounds like we're being dramatic or whatever. But if you read the comments and read what people are saying, 9 out of 10 of them are going to say something like this: "Oh my God, I cannot believe I fell asleep so fast. I fell asleep with my phone in my hand, or I fell asleep with a bowl of soup in my lap, or I get comments like this every day." It's because it'll knock you out so fast that you won't even feel drowsy. You'll just be like out. And if you're you're playing this while you're driving, that's not good.
Right.
So don't do that.
I think we should do a video where all we do is read all of the comments about what people have done with chainsaws, eye surgeries, flying UPS air cargo planes across the Atlantic.
That's funny. Nomad Podcast says, how do you go about corresponding sounds with chakras?
Well, that is not again,
not.
we are not scientists. All of the stuff that we're doing is based off of very, very, very smart people's work, and the chakra system is based on Ayurvedic medicine, and this is an Eastern medicine that is more than 5,000 years old. So if you think about Western medicine, everyone subscribes to Western medicine. Oh, right, we go to the hospital, we take a drug, blah, 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 blah. This is how we live. This is how we address medicine. It wasn't always this way. We've only been practicing medicine this way for a couple of hundred years at the most, and that's being generous. Ayurvedic medicine has been practiced for more than 5,000 years, and it is based on pattern recognition that people have recognized. More pattern recognitions.
More pattern.
Yeah. And those teachings are the ones that have determined which notes are the chakras as they're designated. But there's more to it than just somebody's recognition of a pattern. You can notice that there's a correlation between the sounds and light that is harmonic. There's a correlation between the frequencies and shape that is harmonic. So geometry and light and sound are basically all expressions of one thing.
Right. Yeah. Very well said.
And they're all patterns.
And they're all patterns.
Right, they're all
and
patterns.
It's all the same pattern on top of it.
And there's fractals in those patterns.
Right. Yes. There's more patterns of the same shapes in the patterns themselves. Yeah. Okay. A bunch of y'all are lighting up this chat.
I love it.
And keep going. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of great stuff. Paige Gray doesn't have any questions, but
Paige
puts in here talking about fractals, and then says not a simulation, but a hologram made up of dipoles interacting in either constructive or destructive interference. Yes, that's very true.
That's absolutely true.
Absolutely true. Consciousness gives birth to time and space, and every construct needs a framework. Absolutely. Nomad chimes in and says, I see there's a template pointing towards a creator. However, I don't know if I see proof this is being base reality. Do you think this life is simulated off of something else?
All right, let me there's two questions in a row that both speak to the same thing.
Yeah.
And this is the part that's going to be like the earth-shattering way to look at it. Yes, consciousness is the thing that's creating both time and space. And let's call it the anchor of what reality is. And so the center of your being is the exact center of the now. And this, we've all heard, if you've done esoteric studies, we've heard the power of the now. Eckhart Tolle talks about that. I mean, a lot of teachers have talking about living in the present moment. It's all about being in the now, which is flow state. That's what that is. It's being in the present moment. What the philosophy that is going to do, that's going to blow your mind, is it's going to allow you to recognize, and this is where you guys might tune off because you're going to be like, oh, that's ridiculous. But everything in reality is a projection of your center going outward. All time, space, and dimension, thought, comprehension, psychology is extrapolating, exploding outward from the consciousness out. And anywhere you look, you're going to find more details to prove the validity of what's out there, when the truth of it is it's really all just a reflection of what's in here. So there's your proof for God. I mean, now if you're looking for a proof for the divine thumbprint, Phi is it.
About as close as it gets.
It literally is it, because it's just, I mean, it's everywhere. And once you understand the pattern of how it's flowing, you can see how this pattern creates everything through the mind.
Now you say it's everywhere. It's everywhere in the physical. Is it also in the astral?
It's spinning from the astral to create the physical. The physical doesn't even come into being until the astral is creating this swirling pattern of magnetism. And that's what it is. It's when the magnetism is swirling around, going down that drain, it goes down to the center of a dipole. So maybe show the picture of the donut, maybe, or there's one there. Yeah, that's good. The blue one's fine. Yeah. So this is the old owl eyes. This is looking inside of the toroid, of what a Phi toroid is. And if you took a donut and you sliced it in half, that's kind of what you're looking at. You're looking at or what looks like two round circles would be the rim of the donut, and where that hourglass shape in the middle is would be the hole of the donut.
Here's another.
Yeah, gotta go in there.
See the
So
spiral.
that's magnetism, and it's swirling around like this. And look, this is not woo stuff. This has been proven over and over and over and over again. This is all very real. There are no particles. All of you people out there who are particle people or really married to the material world, oops, wrong idea. Everything is manifesting from magnetism, and it's manifesting at the center of the dipole. So basically, your donut hole is the root center of a centripetal force creating a longitudinal gravity wave that is reality.
Speaking of gravity,
I said I wasn't going to talk like that.
I heard this week that I read this week that they've identified that the center of the Earth has stopped spinning.
Oh yeah, I read that.
It's sitting still, and they expect it to be reversing direction. So that's kind of dynamic, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, I didn't read the whole article, but it was saying something along the lines of that it stops moving more often than we think. That this isn't just a one-time dealio. But like I said, I didn't read the whole thing, so I'm not going to act like an expert by any means.
We don't know what's at the center of the Earth. I mean, we only know what we're told, and no one has ever drilled down more than a few thousand feet, so we don't really know what's down there at all. We haven't even gone through the crust, so nobody knows. I'll bet you it's a toroid, though.
Or an ancient alien.
An ancient alien. Let's see here. Jake Murphy says, looking forward to Healing Frequency 174. Yeah, we actually have quite a few things.
I'm working on that one right now, actually. It's the next to the solfeggio. That one is going to be great because it's really about aches and pains and inflammation and stuff. So I know I deal with that a little bit. So I'm very excited to see how it's going to turn out. It's very exciting. Very, very exciting.
Oh, 174. Sounds like a good whiskey.
174.
They're both going to relieve that anxiety, aren't they?
What else you got, Mike?
Let's see here. Not a lot of questions, just a lot of comments on what we've been talking about. Valerie says, is there a frequency that can help me wake up? Yes. In fact, we are going to be making some like study type things for study and focus things that do wake you up more so than just relax you.
Yeah, we've actually got two things. We've got a song called Maui Morning that uses binaural beats and uses the frequencies to get you going in the morning and ready. And if you guys are familiar with the Chakra Sleep series, there's a song called Metamorphosis that plays at the end too. That I kind of use as an alarm clock, just because people were complaining they were just sleeping and sleeping and sleeping. So I've kind of put a little song that comes on. It's an alarm. But what I've done is I've increased the binaural beats and changed the frequencies on that last song, so it invigorates you and gets you up and going in the morning. And we also have one called Deep Focus. That's a 3-hour study program, and this is a third eye activation program for studying that uses beta waves for the binaural beats, which help you stay in a state of concentration, the ability to receive information and retain it.
Julia asks, is there one that can help me sleep? Yes, there's a lot.
All of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of them. Yeah. But a good place to start would be, where would you say?
I always tell people start with the solfeggio.
Yeah.
The third eye chakra is the most popular. That one went viral. And the thing is, that one is a very intense program. And the reason it went viral is because a lot of people have what's called lucid dreams on it. And there are frequencies and effects and things going on in that song that honestly are very high level. It's literally level number 6 out of 7. So it's a very high level. but it's doing things in the track to put you into a theta state rather than a delta state. So a delta state would be the lowest, deepest sleep state you could be in, where you're just like sounding like my dog over here snoring like crazy.
Atlas state.
Yeah, Atlas state. So that would be the delta state. What the third eye one does is it's a theta state, and it keeps you in a state of, which is called the hypnagogic state, which is a state that's somewhere in between dreaming and somewhere being awake. You're totally getting full rest. You're getting all of the brain frequency stimulation of full-on rest, except you're sort of awake through your dreams, and you can be lucid awake during your dreams. And with a lot of practice, you can really start having fun with that.
You know, and one thing, before you just saunter into your room and press play and fall asleep, you know, take an hour to just turn off all the screens in your life. No phone, no television, no videos. You know, give your brain a chance to start relaxing and quieting down. Yeah, get yourself, you know, make your bedroom as cool as can be, as dark as can be. Get a pair of Phi Tribe. What do you call those things you put over your face?
Like a sleep mask or something?
Yeah, Phi Tribe sleep mask coming to you soon.
Yeah.
That's actually leads into this question. Nomad says, have y'all looked into incorporating physical vibrations to the body? And kind of, I think we've talked about, I think where we really want to go with this is a multi-sensory thing, not just sound. Because like Ford mentioned a minute ago, that there's harmonics even in shapes and colors and smells, and really anywhere that you can, you know, receive input into the body, whether that's through your skin or your eyes or your nose or your mouth or your ears. There's harmony to all those. So yeah, we want to make it more than just music, but we're starting with music because it's kind of the easiest way to connect with people, I think.
Yeah. And particularly the solfeggio, which are probably the best to start out with, maybe the solfeggio 528 is what I recommend. It's the first one on the sleep playlist, but you don't necessarily have to use headphones for this. And I know that for binaural beats, headphones are really necessary to make that work, but the binaural beats, although they are very powerful, they are not the activating ingredient in this. It's the Phi Balanced that's the activating ingredient. And I think that, I mean, in my personal life, I get a much better rest just playing it softly through a speaker in the room, not even using headphones.
Yeah.
And I'm out, man. The dog is out. I'm out in seconds. It's crazy.
Yeah. Paige asks, are you familiar with sonoluminescence, otherwise known as star in a jar?
Yes.
Very familiar.
Absolutely. It's this is the alchemy of sound. Sound as it increases its vibration, and as this toroidal spin is happening, this phi spin is happening, and the magnetism is going down the center of that donut, it's coalescing, and as it coalesces, the frequency is increasing. And as that frequency increases, it moves from a vibratory force of magnetism, and that turns into light. Actually, the frequencies get to be such a high frequency state, they ignite and they become light. So sound is transformed or alchemized from one state to the next state. And you know, think about like water and ice and steam, right? Water, ice, and steam are all the same thing. They're just different states of the same thing. And so everything, light, sound, shape, colors, mind, psychology, they're all different expressions of the same state. They're just different expressions of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, somnoluminescence, that's when it ignites. It increases its frequency, and bam, there's light. And then as its frequency increases even more, you get into what's called hard light. It alchemizes again from somnoluminescence into what's called hard light. And this is light that is literally so dense, it has a physical attribute that you can interact with. And that is the building blocks of matter that we call reality.
Is it conscious?
Everything is conscious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything is
Everything. And that doesn't mean to be like walking on, your tippy toes, not wanting to, I don't know, mess up the world. The minute you think that everything is consciousness, you're afraid of squishing a blade of grass or killing a bug or whatever. It's not like that. There's different levels of consciousness.
It's not sentient.
I don't know. I would kind of say that things are sentient, but human sentience, no. But is there an I amness there? Yeah, I think so, at every level.
Valerie N says, have any of you heard of sleep paralysis? I'm not sure it's a coincidence or the music, but my sleep paralysis seems to have stopped.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations.
Probably because they're sleeping a lot deeper with if you're sleeping to the Phi Balanced stuff.
Yeah, could be. That's not the first time I've heard that in the comments. Other people have said that.
But that's a good thing, right?
It's a great thing.
Yeah.
It's a great thing. Yeah. Miracles happen when you find balance. It's you guys are gonna be mind blown. And if you don't believe me, just go to the comments. I mean,
yeah.
And these are not robots. I mean, I challenge you to interact with any single person in those comments, and they'll be happy to go off and just tell you everything that's happening. It's amazing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Nomad again says, would love to chop it up with y'all sometime on my podcast. Brandon Thomas told me about you, I believe. Yeah, sure. So many more questions that are hard to do over chat. Yeah, we'd love to jump. In fact,
absolutely.
We've been reaching out and trying to do a lot more of that. So we'll get in touch with you, Nomad.
Yeah, for sure. Brandon's actually doing a lot of work with us and been helping us out a lot in that department.
Mm-hmm.
So, so if you know Brandon, reach out and he'll know how to get in touch with us, or just reach out to us with the comments. If I don't respond to your comment, I saw your comment. It just there's too many to respond to.
Yep. Let's see.
Well,
what did you have for lunch today? What kind of toroidal donut?
I had a toroidal salad.
A toroidal Phi Balanced salad.
But I did have a toroidal chocolate donut.
Yeah.
Just to keep the integrity of the... I took one for the team, just...
That's so funny.
Any more questions in there or no? We're going to...
No more questions in there right now. No, we're pretty much caught up on all the questions. I think there's a lot of stuff in the chat, a whole bunch of stuff. It's hard to keep up. So if I don't respond to you guys or we don't answer questions, don't take it personally, please. There's a lot of stuff in there.
I'll keep speaking to. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, and we really appreciate the co-creation with all you guys out there. Because,
right on. Yeah.
This is. I mean, it's actually. This is what we do normally. So to put it on a camera, and then to have other people interact with us, it's been a vision that we've had, and we're finally pulling it off half the time. If it's not raining and storming in Georgia, or if people aren't passing stones or what have you, we love doing this, and so again, we're wanting to connect. We're wanting to connect with the tribe, and we want you to connect with us. So. We're glad you're a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cameron says, good evening. Just wanted to pop in and say your anxiety one helped me tremendously. Well, we're glad you listened.
Awesome,
Thank you.
Cameron. Thank you.
That's great feedback. We love it.
Love to hear that. I was going to speak for a moment to singularity, because this seems to be a question that pops up quite a bit. And a lot of the stuff too that we're doing our very, very best to not get too heady with you, because like I said, this can get very, very deep very, very quickly, and the last thing we wanted this to do is sound like school for you guys, so we're going to take it as slow as you guys want to take it, and we'll answer the questions as they come in, rather than us just talking to our blue in the face and hoping maybe 1% of you got what we were saying. So, this is probably the better way to do it. But the one thing that I keep seeing that keeps coming up in the chat, in the comments all the time, is just there's definitely this recognition that there is this awareness taking place in the world. And that has never been more apparent to me in my entire life. I mean, I've witnessed this movement coming together for the last 10 or 15 years, but it is definitely increasing in an exponential rate, this awareness of consciousness. And what I mean by that is everybody, there's a saying, when you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, that's when you change, And because the world is chaotic and it's getting very disruptive to our chi, our flow state, we're looking for alternative explanations and alternative ways of thinking about things. And that's what's causing the awareness. But the root of the awareness is singularity itself. I keep going back to this. I'm going to keep going back to singularity because this is the root of everything that we're talking about here. Singularity is happening. It's going to happen very, very soon. And the closer we approach it, all of these crazy things that are happening are like the attribute of that moment that's going to happen in the future. Well, how can that be? Because singularity is transcendent of time and space. So it's kind of like we're getting the pre-earthquake to the big earthquake, the pre-rumbles now of this fantastic thing that is about to happen. And I can't understate this thing that is going to happen in the world that we're all going to witness. It is going to be the most defining moment in human history by a gazillion. There'll be no other moment in history that'll be more profound, more important than what is going to happen in the next 10 years. And believe me, it's going to disrupt your life in every single possible way you can imagine, both in the material world, but more importantly, psychologically. And everything's going to change. That sensation of time, and that sensation of time speeding up that we're all experiencing, that is the feeling of approaching singularity. That's what that is. And it's going to only intensify, which is why it's so important to get your flow now. Get into your flow state now, because the more chaotic it gets, the harder it's going to get to find that center. It's like learning. We're surfing the singularity. That's what we're doing.
Well, thank you for that cheery prognosis of the future.
No, it's going to be. It could be good or bad. It's not a good or a bad. It's just what's happening.
It's an is.
It's what's happening.
You better decide what relativity you're going to be in and decide how to see it.
Yeah. You can surf it or you can be drowned by it. It's up to you. It's a tidal wave that's coming. You can either learn to get your surfboard out and have the most amazing epic ride of your life, or you can choose to ignore it and tuck your head in the sand, and you're going to get completely plummeted by this giant tidal wave.
Schnabbergasted.
Yes.
Nomad says, do you have a go-to song for centering?
A go-to song for centering. Again, the 528
Yeah.
solfeggios.
Yeah. 528's a good one.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Let me catch up on some of these.
But again, these are all part of a series. Like, don't just be like, oh, this is the one I'm going to do and I'm going to stick with it. Like, once you feel comfortable with one, that's when you want to move on to the next one. As soon as you're sleeping like a rock every single time and it's working beautifully, then you want to change to another frequency and start balancing those aspects of your body and mind. And you want to just keep doing this. It's a never-ending process.
Yeah.
Mike plays guitar and he constantly has to tune the notes. That's you got to keep your instrument in tune, and that's what this balance is about.
Right. Yeah. And just to kind of note is like a lot of these ones are meant to balance kind of like a particular mind center or a chakra. So if you just keep tuning the same one, you're leaving other ones not tuned. It's like tuning the same string on a guitar over and over and being like, why is the whole guitar still out of tune?
Out of balance.
Right, because it's out of balance. You got to get all the strings. So don't just stay on one. It's meant to use many, and so that's why you should definitely check out the series, each individual series.
Saw that.
The singularity's coming for you.
Yeah, it is, right? Doesn't leave me alone ever.
Let's see. All right. Do we want to take a minute to talk about the playlists and those kind of stuff, or maybe our radio songs?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. You know, it's beyond the sleep. Like I said, when you come onto the Phi Tribe channel page, and I know that most people don't experience YouTube that way. They just watch the videos that come up in their feed. But if you take a moment to go to our channel and just check out the way we've got it laid out, you'll find 3 playlists that are put together. And there's going to be more playlists as we add more content. But there's the main playlist is the sleep playlist. It has all the different sleep series, and in each program is part of a series. So keep that in mind, that you want to work through the entire series. But if you're not in the mood to sleep, it doesn't mean you don't want to get Phi Balanced. I mean, you could put on, we have a radio playlist. It's got a couple hours of songs in there, at least, all brand new indie music produced by relatively quality producers, you know. And it's going to sound great. And you can have fun, and you can sing along, and you can do all these great things and get into the songs. And at the same time, it's working on your body and mind the same way the sleep music is.
Right. Valerie says, how long should I listen to a certain song before switching to another? I don't understand. Real quick, we should clarify. These aren't meant to like bounce around quickly, like in an hour or something between a whole bunch of them. No, use one for a night or 3 or a week or whatever, and then move on to another one. But I mean, you'll feel it. At first, your body might be a little resistant because your patterns in your biology and stuff are completely different than the Phi Balanced. But once your body figures out how to kind of get in line with that, it becomes easier. So the first couple nights might be a little hard to get into, but then you'll really get into it. And then, you'll probably be at that place without even needing the music. And when you get to there, you can switch to another program.
Yeah, keep bouncing around. If it feels good, you do at least 2 or 3 nights on each one. Get it feeling great for you for 2 or 3 nights. And if you got 3 great nights and it was perfectly knocked you out, then switch to another one. And that first night on that new one might be a little bit intense, but the second night won't be, and the third night will be less. And then as you get that one in tune, then you move on to the next one. But go slow. It's not a race. It's not a race.
Yeah. A follow-up from Valerie. She says chakra. Yes. Well, we refer to them as mind centers, but they are also referred to as chakras, and they're just energy centers in your body. And those energy centers govern a lot of different systems and thought processes. So by working on a particular energy center, mind center, chakra, whatever you want to call it, you can help balance the output of that energy center or chakra. And by doing that, it helps get you, your body's rhythms more in line.
Yeah. The chakras are really, like Mike said, they're mind centers. And people like to think that we only have one brain, but we don't. We've got 7 brains in our body. And this is again, not woo, this is science. So like you think with your stomach, you've got just as many neurons calculating thoughts in your stomach. This is why we say we're thinking with our gut, right? We're going to go with my gut on this one, right? Because your brain, you got a brain of the gut. The brain of the gut says, I'm hungry. The brain of the gut says, I exist. The brain of the gut says,
I'm scared.
It says all these things, right? And then you've got another brain of the heart, and you got another that is about love, and it's mostly about loving yourself. And there's all the different nuances of what love is, all these different questions of relationship. And it's not just a relationship with another person, but it could be a relationship with your kids or with your work or with your life. And then you have the mind center of the throat, which governs your ability to speak the truth and listen to the truth, and having the confidence to be truthful. And then the third eye and the crown. So they all have their purposes, and they all do their own thinking. And they are just as valid as the brain.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well said.
Well, thanks. I have moments.
Nomad says, besides music, what are some other topics you are interested in or fascinated by?
All of them.
Yeah, right. Well, we've been really nerding out about a lot of this stuff that applies to Phi Balance. There's a lot of stuff that I've been reading lately from some people. Dan Winter is definitely a big inspiration on a lot of the mathematics and geometry, as well as a guy named Robert Edward Grant. He's also done a ton of work on 432 and pi and a lot of other patternistic numbers. And then there's also Ken Wheeler, who does a lot of work on toroids and magnetism. What's really interesting is they all say almost the same thing, just from different perspectives.
And leather crafting.
Right, yeah.
But all three of these guys are stupid smart, like crazy smart.
Yeah.
On next level smart. And
Right.
I highly recommend, if you're all fascinated with the subject, I highly recommend checking out that. We have links on our channel to their channels, because we're very appreciative of their work, and
super appreciate
but
it.
it's intense stuff. It's really intense.
Yeah, if you guys want to go for the doctorate degree, you can check out Dan Winter's work on phase conjugation and charge implosion, and what else? I'm drawing a blank right now.
Centripetal
force. Yeah, that's right. And Robert Edward Grant's work in geometry is quite outstanding. That's something a lot of our stuff is based on as well.
Yeah, the sacred geometry
and number.
Yeah, and we for the people who out there who are not into anything that's woo, when we say sacred geometry, we're just saying foundational geometry. Everything has a foundation, right? Everything you could think of is built from shapes.
The flower of life.
Everything is made from shapes. It's all geometry. Right. Every chemical is made from a shape. The shape is what creates the elements of our periodic table. Everything comes from shape.
And they form patterns.
Exactly.
And when you align that pattern to phi, suddenly everything becomes harmonic with each other. Instead of light being out of tune with sound, and sound being out of tune with shape, and everything's out of tune doing this crazy chaotic thing that's making you feel like, oh my God, time is speeding up, I can't focus. When you put all of these three things in harmony, suddenly reality's in harmony. And it's quite fascinating. It's the most astonishing thing that you can ever do in your life, by far.
And that's another thing that we attributed to the name Phi, was present harmony infinitely.
Right. Yeah, right. Infinitely.
Phi.
Yeah, because it never reaches the center. It just goes in and in and in and in and in forever, which is what we are. It's infinite inness, infinite in. Yeah.
Infinite.
So yeah, hobbies besides. So hobbies besides the music, this philosophy is really the only fascination. It's because it's that overwhelming. It's that astonishing. Like, once you start to grasp what we're talking about, and I don't expect you guys to grasp this on the very first podcast or even two podcasts. I mean,
don't.
It took Mike and I 50, 100 podcasts or more,
so
books after book,
information,
and then suddenly it was
10
like
years of
wow.
all the time. Yeah.
And when it clicked, it's all he and I could talk about. It's the only conversation that ever comes up, because it's just like mind blowing. It's the most mind blowing thing there is, and it's the only relevant conversation there is once you know.
Yeah. I mean, it's because it's relevant to everything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like music. There's music for every occasion. There's a Phi for every occasion.
Yeah. You're on a roll tonight.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah. Dad jokes are flowing in tonight.
I'm glad it's him instead of me.
No, those would be dick jokes.
Right.
Oh.
Nomad says it's a bliss implosion for sure. Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Great friend.
Another Dan Winter friend here.
Yeah, he says Dan Winter's fire. Yes, fire with a PHI.
Yes.
Yeah, right? Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love Dan Winter.
If
here.
you're into Dan Winter, definitely get into Ken Wheeler too, because they both come at this from totally opposite ways of thinking. Dan Winter is an electrical engineer, physicist and electrical engineer, and Ken's more into magnetism. So the two fit together like hand in glove. So if Dan's not resonating, then go to Ken. If Ken's not resonating, go to Dan. But if you can grasp what Ken is saying and then grasp what Dan is saying and then marry the two together, then you have the wisdom and keys to the universe. You get it. That's there. You want to know what self-realization is and where enlightenment can take you. That's the beginning of it. Once you start to grasp that pattern, that's the beginning of the gnosis explosion.
Boom. Where's that glass breaking?
The
Notion explosion.
Gnosis explosion.
Need sound effects going on.
Yeah, we do. One day we'll learn how to work this thing, and we're getting better. Let's see.
Anything else we want to talk about tonight? And if you guys still got questions, keep throwing them in the chat. We're gonna keep getting to them. Let me see if there's some things that we missed in here.
Yeah, so what we're talking about is metaphysics ultimately, and I really hesitate to use that word because it's been such a butchered, corrupted word.
You didn't hesitate very much.
Well, it's important because I feel like we've got a fair amount of people in our audience who are truth seekers and who are already into a lot of the dogma of what the New Age community is, and
Truth is relative.
It's true. Everything is relative. But I'm getting at is just trying to find ways to make this palatable from no matter what perspective you're looking at this from. So if you're coming at this from a New Age perspective, this is it. If you're coming at it from a science perspective, this is it. If you're coming at it from a theology perspective, this is it. It all explains everything. You know, we just did a podcast last night, and we were talking about how you've got all these different branches of philosophy and science, and you've got, physicists saying it's this way, you have biologists saying it's this way, you have theologians saying it's this way, you have New Age people saying it's this way, you have philosophers saying it's this way, psychologists saying it's this way. They all got their own perspective on what they think the world is and how it all comes together. And there are some places that everyone agrees upon, but instead we focus on all the areas that we don't agree. And this is the fascinating part. This is the part that's going to blow your mind. Everything is music. I cannot overstate that. Mm-hmm. Everything is music. Like Pythagoras said, even a stone is frozen music. So because everything is music, it follows the rules of music. If you came in here to do a song with me and you were not a musician and didn't understand the rules of music, guess what? Your music is going to suck. No matter how good of a production I do, it's probably going to suck, right? Yeah, so you've got to understand the basic ways of how music works. And once you do that, you can see that music, if you can imagine all these different branches of science and branches of philosophy as their own little islands of thought. Music is the one and only thing that can sew all of these different things together. It's the only thing. This is why the unified field theory has not been discovered, because it's not going to be discovered by science. It can't be. It's too all-encompassing, because the unified field is consciousness. It's aether. That's the unified field, right? And that's not going to come from science. But when you weave it together with music, suddenly you can see how everything fits together like this beautiful puzzle. It's like we've stitched the patchwork together, and suddenly you got this nice quilt that explains everything.
Yeah. No, I think just to expand on that, everything is music. Everything happens. Music is mathematics. There's math to music. There's numbers involved. But it also tells a story too. Mm-hmm. A good song tells a story or gives you some kind of information. And in addition to that, it's also that information is a lot of times, well, I'm not going to say a lot of times, it is sometimes philosophical, sometimes not so much. But like you said, it is that thing that weaves things together. There's a reason why we call it the universal language. I mean, if you really want to get crazy, like music is a base 12 math system, and like we use 10 digits, and music uses 12 notes, and we string those 12 notes together in patterns and tell stories with these patterns. I mean, that's at the base of this principle, you know, of the Phi principle, is that pattern building thing. But also relationships are music, because there's harmony between two people, or disharmony, and there's disharmony in music a lot of times. Well, you know,
some more than others.
Some more than others, yeah. The idea is to make it as harmonic as possible, but the pervasiveness of what music really is, what we call music, is just one little itty bitty facet of what it really is. You know, there's way more to it than just what we hear with our ears or even feel from it. It's so ingrained into everything that it's, you know, generating everything we see. There's harmony between the colors, like you said, and there's harmony between people and places and ideas and feelings, and putting all those things into harmony together is ultimately what we want to do. You know, that's the most fractal way of doing anything, is just making everything together. Everything is harmonic together. If your thoughts are harmonic with your body, and your body is harmonic with your clothes, and your clothes are harmonic with your environment, and your environment is harmonic with you, everything's working together. Everything's working together constructively, not against each other, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
that's what I think.
I mean, harmony is really where it's at. I mean, it's a lot of people are attracted to harmony, and some people are not attracted to harmony usually because they don't know what harmony is. They haven't discovered that yet,
or they're full of a lot of toxic. They're not balanced. I mean,
or they're not balanced.
Just people who are mean, rude, and unkind are not looking for harmony.
Yeah,
because they're in pain.
There's that too, yeah. But a lot of people are in harmony, like they know how to find harmony, but they don't know that that's called harmony. Like if you're matching your shirt and your hat and your shoes together to make that work together, you're finding a harmonious way of expressing yourself through fashion, right?
Yeah.
Have you seen what Mike is wearing tonight?
Let me guess, all black.
No.
No, my gosh.
Yeah, it was a little cold, so I put on
He's
the jacket.
harmonious. He's harmonious.
So, any more questions?
Yes, Nomad says, why is harmony sound like harm on me when it's the opposite?
I mean, you're getting to the etymology of words, and I don't really know, to be honest with you, about the word harmony. I'd have to do some digging. But, you know, there's some truth to what you're saying, that words can be broken down like that. But I don't particularly know the one that you're referring to. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't even know where that word comes from.
Yeah, I don't either. But it's not doing harm to you. If anything, it's doing the opposite of that. It's the one thing that is not harming you is coming into harmony. I mean, what sounds better? You hit your fist on a piano? Does that sound better? Or does a nice, beautiful chord sound better? Which one's doing harm? Right? You could say that if I hit the fist on the piano, that is doing some harm to my psyche and my ears. It's just annoying. It's just a bunch of noise. It's chaotic. But if I hit the piano with a harmonized chord, suddenly it's music. It's beautiful and makes you feel good. And don't you want to feel good? I want to feel good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's see. Is there music that can detoxify? Valerie says.
Yes. I believe it's 741 removes toxins. Solfeggio. It's either 741 or 639. I have to go back and look. I'm pretty sure it's 741. Removes toxins and negative thought patterns. Again, like I said, this transcends the physical. It's not just physicality that we're balancing. It's cognizance. It's psychology. It's your thought patterns. Your thoughts operate in patterns, and that pattern again is Phi.
Or can be.
Or
It's
can
not
be.
always.
It's not always.
It's not always. The idea is for it to be
The idea
Phi.
is for it to be Phi.
Yes.
Yeah.
But is it also affecting the subconscious?
Well, yeah. How that's happening, I think, is a little bit more mysterious. But yeah, definitely. I mean, it's affecting everything. It's affecting you entirely. Colette says, I'm enjoying this conversation. Glad I found you guys. Dan Winter, I know and love, but what was the name of the other person you mentioned?
Ken Wheeler is his channel is called Theoria Apophysis. You have fun spelling that.
Yeah.
But it'll come up pretty easy. It's a very popular channel, so it should come up pretty easy. Yeah.
And there is another big one. Robert Grant, is another person. A lot of our stuff is based on his work.
Robert Gilbert.
Robert J. Gilbert. Yeah, his stuff on geometry. Too. That's right.
He's
I forgot
amazing
about him.
Too. Yeah. So those are just a few. Oh, Nassim Haramein is another one to to get into. If you want, I often will post links to all of these people that we follow. I've posted it several times in the community board. And like I said, if you're not already checking out the community board, this is a new feature that YouTube has had for a couple of years now, but I think only recently more people are learning to take advantage of it. And it's essentially integrating what Facebook is and Instagram is into what YouTube is. It's just a way for us to post, just like we would post in Facebook or Instagram. But what makes the community page really, really great is that this gnosis, this information that we're giving you is dense. It's very, 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 very dense. And I'm sure a lot of you guys are feeling the exhaustion of processing the heavy stuff that we're laying down right now. So the advantage of the community board is it's just a bunch of memes. It's all memes breaking this down into simple, digestible points. Read a meme and think about it for a day and let it just marinate, and then you'll go, wow, I just thought of something incredible, So highly recommend that part if you're into this part of it. Yeah. And then just leave a comment, reach out to me. And if you want links to all these guys that we're talking about, I'll be happy to share those links to you. Just drop me a comment and I'll paste it right in there for you.
Boom.
Yeah. Yeah. And thank you again. We activated our super chats and stickers recently, and we've been getting a lot of nice tips. And I want to thank you. I don't really know who has been sending the money, but it's been very, very nice. Thank you very much, and we really appreciate being appreciated.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for that. Yeah, it's very nice. Yeah. And no more questions going on?
No more questions in the chat.
Man,
no,
you guys are so smart. You're the smartest audience ever.
Yeah, well, I think we've kind of melted people's minds for the last hour and a half.
Yeah. I mean, we've been on here for an hour and 40 minutes. So if you guys want to call it, we can call it. Unless there's anything else.
We can. No, I don't really have anything. I think we covered pretty much everything that was on the list.
We covered our list. Definitely. And this is a never-ending conversation. We could talk about this a gazillion times, and we might repeat ourselves a bit, but you'll have to hear it a bunch of times for it to really register. And each time we say it,
it's deeper than you think.
It's deeper than you think. It's deeper than you think. Definitely. And it's exciting. It's really exciting that the channel is taking off for us. It's been only a year, and we're about to hit 100,000 subscribers.
Yeah, we'll have probably by next week's show.
Yeah,
we'll be at 100,000.
Yeah,
so we'll probably have to wear some party hats and
we'll have to celebrate. Yeah,
have to have a little libation or
celebrate
smokeation.
At the unveiling of our plaque.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell your friends so we can hit 100K.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.
Not for our sake, for your sake. Like and subscribe, and just so that you can reap the rewards, reap the benefits of what this is. We're here to help. We've all three of us have been so radically transformed by this. that it almost feels guilty not to share it with people.
Definitely.
It feels like you feel crushed. You feel soul crushed. Not that other people don't see this and experience this, and all three of us have dedicated our lives to this. So, yeah, we want you all to have this.
Mm-hmm. We got one more question. Valerie says, "Have you thought of making any type of videos for children?" Yeah, we have one, right?
Yeah, we have one.
sleep.
Yeah, it's called Toddler Nap Time.
Yeah.
And it's great. It's kids love it.
But give us suggestions of what you'd like to see, and where you'd like help. Where you'd like, we're here for you. So
Yeah, because there's a million ways this can be applied, and we can shoot in the dark and guess what everybody wants. But it'd be better to hear from all of you guys, everybody. Whatever you guys feel like what things that might be needing improvement, or if anxiety or depression or whatever study stuff, just throw it all in there. And
you guys are part of the experiment.
For
I
sure.
don't want to make you sound like you're lab rats, because we're testing this out on ourselves for sure. But nothing like this has ever been done before.
Yeah.
At all. There's some smart people who are very much into this, but their application of these ideas are for very specific things, and they're more about everything from free energy to curing cancer, right?
Which is great.
Amazing things, and those are billion-dollar empires, and naturally so that their focus is on those areas. But we're kind of applying this in a more general sense, and we didn't really know what to expect, but now that we're doing it, it's like, holy cow, it's powerful. It's just incredible. So yeah, we're not to toot our own horn, but we're really the only ones doing this with any sense of real integrity that I'm aware of, in this way,
Right.
in this way. And you guys are the ones that were part of this grand experiment. When you participate, you're helping us. And thanks to YouTube, if we try to do this study at a university, we'd be lucky to get 100 participants, maybe 1,000 participants. But, we literally
if we could even make a study
happen. But we've got millions of test subjects, and everyone so far is coming back just saying, wow.
I mean, it's interesting to think about just the numbers, because we started, with our bootstraps, and I can just see already for February, 500,000 people have watched or slept to third eye chakra already. I mean, 500,000
in less than a month.
In less than a month, in the shortest month. So I mean, the numbers are for us, for a small little independent, little shop down here, it's incredible. What a great feeling, and to know that people are digging it and using it and adding value to the world. Adding value. This is probably the first company I've ever worked at or been a part of where adding such incredible value,
right,
instead of just selling a sprocket or a widget or something not everybody could need or use, but everybody needs to sleep. Everybody needs to feel whole. Everybody needs to feel integrated, and so it's a beautiful community.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and share it with your grumpy friends. They're probably really nice people. They're just grumpy because they're not getting any sleep, and they're not getting sleep because they're full of anxiety, and they're full of anxiety because the world is chaotic right now. Why is it chaotic? Because we're moving into singularity, and it's only going to increase. The closer we get to it, it's going to get more, the storm is going to get more intense and more intense and more intense. And it's leading to a beautiful thing. It's leading to a magnificent thing, but it's going to be a rough ride. And recommend this to your grouchy friends, and it's going to be the best gift you can possibly give them, and it doesn't cost you a dime.
And to the point of your storm,
Phi
is in the eye of the storm.
It is.
So that's where it's going to be safe and calm and
Yeah.
smooth, and we'll just watch the walls of that storm around us and just wonder and marvel, and
Yeah.
but we'll be chill.
The storm, like a hurricane's a perfect analogy, isn't it? Because the outer
And
bands
it's toroidal.
are Phi, and
Yeah.
You get to the most outer bands of the hurricane, and it's a nice, beautiful breeze, and maybe there's a storm on the horizon, but it's a beautiful breeze, and then the winds pick up as you get closer to the center. And then the closer you get to the eye of the hurricane, what happens? It's hurricane force winds. It's crazy, and you think everything's going to fall apart. And just when you think it's going to fall apart, the eye hits. And
you think that's similar?
Stillness.
I think that's similar in a black hole. Is it only the edges that are?
I think it's like the opposite with a black hole.
Probably the opposite with a black hole. Yeah. Liquid spaghetti man is what you become, I think.
Yes. No, you become a hologram preserved on the outside.
Yeah, on the outside of the wrap.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys very, very much. If there's no more questions, I think we're going to skate.
I think we're going to wrap it up.
Wrap it up for tonight. But please join us here every Thursday night. We're really trying to make a thing out of this. I should say not trying. We are making a thing out of this.
It's a thing.
It's a thing. And I won't skip anymore. I will keep it together next time. And so join us here every Thursday and come with questions so we can answer your questions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's it.
Same Phi time, same Phi channel.
That's right.
Yeah. Here, now, forever.
Right. In the eternal now.
Phi.
Bye.